couple of years ago, I snapped at Terry, my spouse, over a small thing, something that should not have mattered. And what came out of my mouth showed me a pattern I had been running for years. So before you set a single goal for 2026, you need to hear this. So here's what happened. I just gotten home from a full day. I'm standing in the kitchen, staring into the fridge, trying to figure out again what to make for supper, while mentally running through everything still on my plate. And then Terry walks in and dives right into a new school policy that he's worried about and what it means for our daughter. And he didn't know it, but he just thrown a match on a pool of gasoline. I barked at him. I already took care of it. Not, yeah, I looked into that. Not, don't worry, it's handled. I barked like he'd asked me something really offensive. And to his credit, he didn't match my energy. He just looked at me and said, okay, what's really going on? And that's when it came out. I said, I know we joke that you guys can just all access my brain, the family cloud, but I'm exhausted. I am out of bandwidth. And he didn't get it, at least not at first, because he only saw the tip of the iceberg. He didn't see me juggling 4 calendars, meal plans, lunch preps, bedtime routines, household inventory. The constant, Mom, where's my? Or, Honey, have you seen my? Or, of course, where do we keep the? Not to mention managing 3 staff members, being the mastermind behind the projects we had running, and tracking the numbers while holding the vision. I was the cloud for both my family and my business. And in that moment, I realized just how close I was to crashing, and something had to change. Here's what I saw: the pattern of being the juggler, the keeper, the connector. It made me feel in control. But it was also how I'd been modeled to prove my worth as a mother, as a wife, as a business owner. And here's the thing: Terry didn't need me to be his caregiver. He's a capable adult, he's a good partner, he is a responsible dad. But somewhere along the way, I'd unconsciously hoarded that responsibility, taken it on as mine, and made myself indispensable. And then I resented the weight of it. That's the invisible load. It's not just the tasks, it's the beliefs underneath that carrying all of it is how you earn your place. So if you're listening to this week, right before Christmas, juggling all the gifts, the travel, the meals, the family dynamics, the work deadlines, I'm guessing you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm guessing there's a pattern underneath that's causing your exhaustion too. So today, I want to help you see yours. And please understand that this is not so that you can add fix my patterns to your already overflowing to-do list, but so that you can walk into 2026 with your eyes wide open, aware of what's been running in the background and conscious of the invisible weight that you've been carrying. I'm going to walk you through 3 patterns that I see consistently in my clients, in myself, and in almost every high achieving woman I know. One of them might be yours, maybe 2, or maybe all 3 in all different ways. And my invitation isn't to fix it before January 1st, it's just to see it. The first pattern that I want to name is what I call hyper independence. You've probably heard the belief underneath it your whole life. If you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. You know this one. If you have ever stayed late to redo something your team already finished because it wasn't quite how you would have done it yourself, or said something like, it's faster if I just do it. while your to-do list kept growing. Or built a business where everything flows through you and now you can't step away without it stalling. Or, and I've been guilty of this one, felt that flash of irritation when someone dares to suggest you should find some help because you already know that that would just take more time. So, hyper independence is about doing, being the one who steps in, steps up, handles it all. And here's why it's dangerous: it works. You do get things done. You are reliable. People do count on you. And so you keep doing it. You become the fixer, the closer, the one who always saves the day. That is until one day you realize you have built a life, a business, and a family dynamic where everything depends on you. And you can't stop. Because if you stop doing, who will? If you let something drop, what falls apart? I had a client who ran a seven-figure business, brilliant strategist, incredible team, and she was still approving every Instagram caption, still jumping on calls her team could handle. Just checking in is what she would say on things that didn't need her. And when I asked her why, she said, because if I don't, it won't be right. And then I asked her, how do you know? Have you ever actually let them try without you hovering? And then there came a long pause because she hadn't. She never tested the belief. She just kept taking it all on over and over and wondering why she felt so exhausted, why she couldn't scale the way that she wanted to. So, this is your pattern. The question for 2026 isn't, how do I get more done? The question becomes, what would happen if I let someone else take this? And am I willing to find out? So here's the second pattern. And this one, my friend, is especially sneaky because it sounds incredibly responsible. And I call it the conditional permission. And you know this one if you have ever said these words. Once the business is more stable, then I can invest in support. Once I hit that next revenue milestone, then I'll slow down. Once this launch is done, then I'll take time to rest. Once I've been doing this longer, then I can really own my expertise. That once then language, that's the tell. That's how you know that you're running this pattern. Conditional permission puts a prerequisite on your desires. It says, I haven't earned this yet. I need to hit this benchmark first. I need to prove something before I'm allowed to have what I want. And here's what makes it so sneaky. It sounds strategic, responsible even. Of course, I should wait until revenue is consistent before hiring. Of course, I should finish this launch before taking a break. It sounds like wisdom, but it's not. It's a permission structure that you built up as an obstacle against yourself. I had a client, successful, very business oriented, solid reputation, plenty of demand, and she wanted to restructure her offers to actually fit her life. But first, once she fulfilled her current commitments, then once she had bigger financial cushion, then once she figured out all the right models, 2 years of conditioning, the business kept growing, the restructuring never happened. And when I asked her, what specifically has to be true before you are allowed to build what you actually want? And she couldn't answer because there was no finish line. The conditions kept multiplying. Every time she met one, another one appeared. And that's how conditional permission works. The goalpost moves and it keeps moving always. Because the pattern isn't about the condition, it's about the belief underneath. I don't get to have what I want until I've earned it. And here's the truth no one tells you. You will never feel like you've earned it. That permission slip that you're waiting for, it doesn't arrive in a golden envelope in your mailbox. It doesn't arrive before you allow yourself to have what you want. It comes after. So if this is your pattern, the question isn't what milestone do I need to hit first? It's what if I already have that permission? So before I share the third pattern, and honestly, this one is the hardest to admit, I have a quick ask. If this episode is landing for you, would you take 30 seconds to leave a review? It's the single best way to help other women like you find this podcast, and it means more to me than you can know. Okay, pattern number 3, this one's brutal. I call it the time scarcity, and this one is so common. I know that you know this one. You know it if you have ever looked at someone else's success and then felt that pit in your stomach, like you've missed the train that you didn't even know was leaving. Or you've calculated how old you'll be when you finally reach your goal and felt like it's already too late. Or dismissed your accomplishments because they don't measure up to where you think you should be by now. That time scarcity is vicious because it never lets you arrive. You hit a goal and the goalposts move. You achieve something meaningful, someone else has already done it bigger, faster, younger. You take a moment to celebrate, the voice sneaks in. Well, that's nice, but you're still not where you should be. And here's what makes this one so hard to spot. It's disguised as ambition, as drive, as having a high standard. But it's not ambition. It's self-abandonment. Because you cannot be present to your life. You cannot appreciate what you've built, what you've survived, who you've become, if you are constantly racing against an invisible clock. And I catch myself in this pattern more than I would like to admit. There was a moment last year I had just had a real win, something I had worked towards for months. And I gave myself maybe 60 seconds of satisfaction before my brain kicked in. Okay, but what's next? You're behind on this other thing. So and so already did this 3 years ago. 60 seconds. That's all I had allowed myself before that inner critic came in, that imposter syndrome. And I remember thinking, if I can't celebrate this, if I can't let this land for me, what's any of it for? If this is your pattern, the question isn't, how do I catch up? Because that's a trap. The question becomes, what if I'm not behind? What if I am exactly where I need to be? I know that might sound like something from an inspirational poster, but try saying it out loud and actually leaning into it, feeling into it. It's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. So 3 patterns: hyper-independence, conditional permission, time scarcity. And maybe one of them hit you in the chest. Maybe you're running all 3 in different ways. Maybe yours is something that I didn't name. But hearing these are going to help you see yours more clearly. And here's what I want you to know. Having a pattern doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. We all have patterns. Patterns are our old survival strategies, and they got you through something. They are worthwhile until they start working against you. And at some point, these actually made sense for you. These were your saving grace. But there's a difference between a strategy that saved you and a strategy that still serves you. And the end of the year is a powerful time to ask yourself, Is this still mine? Is this still supporting me? Or is it time for me to set it down? You don't have to fix it this week. You don't need to have it all figured out by January, but you do have to see it. You cannot change what you refuse to look at. And that is a brutal truth. So here's my invitation. Between now and New Year, just pay attention. Notice when the pattern shows up. Don't fight it, just name it. Oh, there's hyper independence again. Hello, old friend. Oh, here I am. Conditional permission. Once then I'll be able to. Or there's time scarcity, and that one is super popular during the holidays. So name it, notice it. That's enough for now. Awareness is the first crack in the pattern's armor. Now, if you're listening to this and thinking, okay, I see the pattern, but I feel like it's connected to something deeper, which it probably is, like there's a root underneath these symptoms, something that you can't quite reach, you're probably right. Because these patterns don't exist in isolation. It's like a root system. Everything's interconnected. And they usually sit on top of a cracked pillar, something structural in your values, your intuition, your energy, or your strategy. And until you know which pillar is off, you'll keep managing the symptoms of this pattern instead of addressing the foundations. And that's why I created the Your Breakthrough Blueprint. It's 9 questions, it takes 2 minutes of your time, and it shows you exactly which pillar is creating your invisible ceiling so that you're not guessing anymore, so that you know where to focus your time and energy. Take this 2-minute quiz before the new year. Go into 2026 with clarity instead of just hope. The links are in the show notes. Here's what you can expect for 2026. You're going to receive from it exactly what you put in. If you drag that old pattern in, you're going to keep doing it all yourself, waiting until you've earned permission, racing against an invisible clock. You'll get more of what you already have, and even more so because in 2026, the energy is quickening. And this is not because you're not capable, but because the pattern is still running the show. But if you're willing to see it, if you're willing to name it, and yes, that's uncomfortable, but your capacity to do that creates a powerful shift in you. Not overnight, not perfectly, but it shifts. So here is my challenge to you. Before you set a single goal for 2026, name the pattern that you are done carrying. Say it out loud, write it down, tell someone, because the moment that you name it, it loses its power over you. And that's how you walk into a new year actually ready for something new. So next week, I'm sitting down with Matea Lennings, a classically trained opera singer who spent 6 years making herself smaller to fit into someone else's box. That's until she couldn't do it anymore. And what happened when she finally stopped following the rules is a story that you need to hear, especially if you've ever felt like you're performing a version of success that was never really yours. So until then, trust your intuition, take aligned action, and keep leading with soul.